Hello, and welcome to another episode of Super English Talks. I'm so happy that you are here today. My name is Maria, and in this podcast, my goal is to help you improve your English listening and speaking while we talk about ideas that really matter in life. Today, we're going to talk about a very interesting and important topic, failure. Yes, we're going to ask the question, why do we fail in life? Failure is something that every single person experiences. Nobody in the world can escape it. You, me, your friends, your teachers, and even very successful people all fail at different times in life. So, if you have failed before, don't worry. You are not alone. Think about this. Maybe you studied hard for an exam, but you didn't pass. Maybe you wanted a job, but the company did not choose you. Maybe you started a small business, but it did not work well and had to close. These are all examples of failure. When these things happen, we often feel sad, disappointed, or even angry. We ask ourselves questions like, why did I fail? What did I do wrong? This is normal. Everyone feels this way. But the important thing is not just the failure itself. It's how we understand it and what we do after it. In this episode, we're going to look closely at failure. We will try to understand what failure really means, why it happens, and how we can learn from it. Now, here's something important. Even people who are very successful today, famous business leaders, sports stars, singers, or artists, have failed many, many times in the past. The difference is that they did not stop. They did not give up. Instead, they learned from their mistakes and kept trying again and again until they finally succeeded. That's why failure can actually be useful. When we know the reasons why we fail, we can change our approach next time. Failure can make us stronger, smarter, and more prepared for the future. In this podcast, here's what we will do together. First, we will talk about what failure really means. Then, we will discuss the most common reasons why people fail in life. For example, not having clear goals, not working hard enough, being afraid to try, or giving up too early. After that, we will explore how to avoid failure and what we can do to move closer to success. Finally, I will share some closing thoughts to help you stay positive and strong, even when life feels difficult. By the end of this episode, I hope you will see failure in a new way. Instead of being afraid of it, you will feel motivated to face it, learn from it, and grow. And, of course, while we do this, you will also be practicing your English. So, are you ready?
Great.
Let's begin. What is failure? Let's start with the most basic question. What is failure? Many people believe that failure is something bad. They feel scared of it and try to avoid it. But the truth is, failure is not the end of the world. Failure is simply a part of life. Failure means that we did not get the result we wanted. That's all. It happens when our plans do not work out the way we hoped. Here are some simple examples. If you study for an exam but don't pass it, that is failure. If you apply for a job but the company does not choose you, that is failure. If you start a business but it does not make money and you have to close it, that is failure too.
See?
These things are very common. Almost everyone has experienced one or more of these situations. The important thing to remember is this. Failure does not mean you are a failure. It only means that one plan, one idea, or one attempt did not work. You can always try again. Failure looks different for everyone. Failure can look very different depending on who you are and what you're doing in life. For example, for a student, failure might mean getting low marks in school or not passing an exam. For a worker, failure could mean not getting the promotion they wanted, or even losing their job. For someone starting something new, like a shop, a project, or a business, failure could mean that the idea did not work, or that people did not support it the way they hoped. And sometimes, failure does not only happen in work or studies. It can also happen in relationships. Maybe a friendship ends, or maybe you have problems with someone you really care about. That can feel like failure too. So, as you can see, failure is not just about big things like exams or businesses. It can happen in small areas of life as well. That is why it is so important to understand that failure is normal. It happens to everyone. There is no person in this world who has never failed. Everyone fails, even successful people. Sometimes when we fail, we think we are the only one. We look at other people and think, they're doing so well. Why am I the one failing? But the truth is, everyone fails. The difference is that some people don't show it, or they fail quietly and move on quickly. But no one can say they have never failed. Even the most successful people we see today, famous inventors, writers, athletes, or business leaders, have failed many times before reaching success. Let's take some examples. Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb, failed hundreds of times before he finally created one that worked. Imagine if he gave up after his first 50 or 100 tries. But he didn't. He kept going. Michael Jordan, one of the most famous basketball players in the world, was once not even chosen for his school's basketball team. That was a huge failure for him at the time. But instead of giving up, he worked harder, practiced more, and later became one of the greatest players in history. These examples show us something important. Failure is not the end. Failure is simply a step on the road to success. Failure as a teacher. Now, let's talk about another big idea. Failure is not always a bad thing. Yes, it can hurt. Yes, it can make us feel sad, angry, or disappointed. But at the same time, failure is also a teacher. Failure teaches us lessons that success cannot. When we fail, we learn what doesn't work. We discover what needs to change. Failure helps us understand our mistakes so we can do better next time. And there is more. Failure can also make us stronger. Think about it. When you fall down but you stand up again, you gain confidence. You start to believe that you can face difficulties and still move forward. Each time you fail and rise again, you become tougher, braver, and more prepared for the future. So failure is not really our enemy. It is more like a guide, a teacher that helps us grow. The real question. In the end, failure connects all human beings. It doesn't matter where you are from, what job you do, or what dreams you have. You will face failure at some point in life. And that is completely okay. The most important question is not, will I fail? Because yes, you will fail sometimes. The real question is, how will I respond to failure? Will you give up? Or will you try again? Will you feel sorry for yourself? Or will you learn, improve, and move forward? These choices are what truly make the difference in life. Final reminder. So, remember this. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. It is a step on the journey. The next time you fail, don't panic.
Take a deep breath.
Remind yourself that failure happens to everyone. Then, ask yourself, what can I do better next time? If you keep this mindset, every failure will push you one step closer to success. Common reasons why we fail in life. Now that we understand what failure is, let's look at why it happens. Failure is not always about bad luck. Many times it happens because of things we can control. If we know the reasons why people fail, we can avoid them and make better choices. So, let's go step by step through some of the most common reasons for failure. 1. Not having clear goals. One of the biggest reasons people fail is because they do not have clear goals. A clear goal means knowing exactly what you want to achieve. If you don't know what you want, it's very hard to get it. Imagine someone who says, I want to be successful. But what does that really mean? Success can mean many different things. Do they want to start a business? Do they want to be a great teacher? Do they want to write a book? If they don't decide, they will feel lost, confused, and unsure of what steps to take. Without clear goals, it's like walking in the dark without a map. You don't know where you're going. That's why it's so important to set clear, specific goals for yourself. 2. Not working hard enough. Another reason people fail is because they don't put in enough effort. Success requires hard work. It's not enough to just wish for something. You must work for it, practice for it, and give your best energy to it. For example, imagine a student who says, I want to pass my exam. But instead of studying seriously, they only read for 1 hour and then spend the rest of the time watching TV or playing games. When the results come, they fail.
Why?
Because they did not try hard enough. Success usually comes to people who work for it every single day, not just once in a while. 3. Being afraid to try. Some people fail simply because they are too afraid to even start. This is called the fear of failure. They worry so much about what could go wrong that they never take action. For example, a person may want to start a small business, but then they think, what if I lose my money? What if people don't like my idea? Because of this fear, they never try at all. But here's the truth. By not trying, they are already failing. At least if you try, you have a chance to succeed. Every success story begins with the courage to take the first step. 4. Negative thinking. Negative thinking is another common reason why people fail. When people think negatively, they stop believing in themselves. They focus only on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. For example, someone might think, I'm not smart enough, or I can't do this. With these thoughts, they don't even give themselves a chance. Negative thinking blocks us before we even begin. To succeed, we need to train our minds to think positively, to focus on possibilities, and to believe in our own abilities. 5. Giving up too soon. Another very common reason for failure is giving up too early. Success takes time. It doesn't happen in 1 day or 1 week. But many people want quick results. When they don't see progress fast, they stop trying. For example, someone may go to the gym because they want to get fit. After 2 weeks, they don't see big changes, so they quit. But if they had continued for a few months, they would have started to see real results. Patience is so important. Success comes slowly, step by step. We must keep going, even when things seem slow or difficult. 6. Not learning from mistakes. Finally, many people fail because they don't learn from their mistakes. Making mistakes is normal. Everyone makes them. But what really matters is what we do after the mistake. Some people repeat the same mistake again and again. For example, they may spend too much money every month. At the end of the month, they have no savings. But instead of changing their spending habits, they keep doing the same thing. Naturally, the problem continues. We need to stop, think about what went wrong, and try a different way next time. Mistakes are only useful if we learn from them. Quick recap. So let's quickly remember the main reasons why people fail. 1. They don't have clear goals. 2. They don't work hard enough. 3. They are afraid to try. 4. They think negatively. 5. They give up too soon. 6. They don't learn from their mistakes. If we avoid these habits, we can already improve our chances of success. More reasons why people fail. We have already talked about many common reasons why people fail in life. But there are still a few more important ones we should not forget. Bad habits. Bad habits can also cause failure. Habits are the small things we do every day, and over time, they build our future. If our habits are good, they help us succeed. But if our habits are bad, they slowly push us toward failure. Think about habits like laziness, wasting too much time, or not planning well. These habits can stop us from reaching our goals.
For example,
Imagine someone who spends hours every day scrolling on social media or watching videos. They say, "I want to follow my dreams," but they never actually work on them. Slowly, time passes, and they realize they are still in the same place. Or imagine someone who always says, "I will do it tomorrow." But when tomorrow comes, they say the same thing again. Days, weeks, and months go by, and they never start. These small habits may not look dangerous at first, but over time, they lead to failure. That's why, if we want to succeed, we must build good habits, like planning our time, staying active, being focused, and doing small steps every day. Blaming others. Another reason people fail is because they blame others for their problems. When something goes wrong, instead of looking at themselves, they say it is someone else's fault.
for example,
A student fails a test and says, "The teacher didn't teach well." But maybe the real reason is that they did not study enough. A worker misses a deadline and says, "My boss gave me too much work." But maybe they wasted a lot of time earlier. When we always blame others, we don't see what we can change in ourselves. And if we don't see our mistakes, we can't improve. But when we take responsibility for our actions, we give ourselves the chance to do better next time. The good news. Now, here's the good news. All of these reasons for failure can be changed. We can set clear goals. We can work harder. We can think positively. We can be patient. We can learn from mistakes. We can build good habits. And we can take responsibility for our actions. When we do these things step by step, we move closer and closer to success. Remember, failure is not the end. It is a lesson. It is something that helps us grow and become better. How to deal with failure. Now that we know the reasons why people fail, let's talk about something very important. How to deal with failure in a smart and healthy way. Failure can feel very painful. It can make us sad, angry, or disappointed. Sometimes we feel like giving up. But the truth is, what really matters is not the failure itself, but how we react to it. If we learn to deal with failure in a positive way, it can actually become a tool to help us grow. So how can we do this? Let's look at a few important steps. Step 1. Accept failure calmly. The first thing we should do is accept failure calmly. When we fail, it is very easy to get upset. Some people get angry. Some people feel ashamed. Some people blame themselves or blame others. But feeling bad for too long does not help. Instead, we can try to take a deep breath and stay calm. We can remind ourselves that failure is normal. Everybody fails sometimes. Even the most successful people in the world failed many times before they reached success.
and that is okay.
The sooner we accept that failure has happened, the sooner we can start thinking about what to do next. When we are calm, our mind becomes clearer and we can make better choices. Step 2. Learn from mistakes. Once we accept failure, the next step is to learn from it. Every failure has a lesson inside it. We can ask ourselves simple questions like, what went wrong? What can I do differently next time? Maybe we did not plan well. Maybe we did not work hard enough. Maybe we need more practice, or maybe we need some advice or help. Whatever the reason is, if we learn from the mistake, it will help us improve. Instead of feeling bad about failure, we can see it as a chance to grow. Step 3. Keep trying and be patient. Another important way to deal with failure is to keep trying and be patient. Success does not come in one day. It takes time, effort, and many small steps. The problem is many people give up after failing once. But if you stop trying, you will never know what you could have achieved. So after failure, make a new plan, try again, and give yourself time. Patience is the key. There is a saying, slow and steady wins the race. As long as you keep moving forward, even slowly, you are still on the right path. Step 4. Stay positive and believe in yourself. Failure can make us doubt ourselves. We may start thinking, I am not good enough. I will never succeed. But these thoughts only make life harder. Instead, try to focus on your strengths. Think about what you have already achieved in the past. Remind yourself that you can always improve and do better next time. Positive thinking gives you energy, hope, and courage to keep going. When you believe in yourself, you are more likely to find solutions and continue working toward your goals. Step 5. Ask for help when you need it. Finally, don't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes we fail because we try to do everything alone. But the truth is, we don't have to. If you're struggling, talk to someone you trust, a friend, a family member, a teacher, or even a coach. Other people can give you advice, support, and encouragement. They can help you see things from a different perspective. And sometimes, just talking about your problem makes it feel smaller and easier to handle. So, to deal with failure in a healthy way, accept it calmly. Learn from it. Keep trying with patience. Stay positive and believe in yourself. Ask for help when needed. When you do these things, failure will not stop you. Instead, it will guide you towards success. Asking for help. Sometimes, when we fail, we think we must fix everything by ourselves. But the truth is, we don't have to. It is okay to ask for help. In fact, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength and wisdom. Other people can give us advice, support, or simply listen to us. Sometimes, just having someone listen makes us feel lighter. Also, other people can see things that we may not notice. They can show us a new way forward that we didn't think about before. So remember this. When you face failure, don't be afraid to ask for help. Talk to a friend, a family member, a teacher, or even a coach. Getting support will make you stronger, not weaker. When we deal with failure in this way, by accepting it calmly, learning from it, trying again with patience, staying positive, believing in ourselves, and asking for help, we don't just recover from failure. We grow stronger, wiser, and more ready for success. How can we avoid failure? Now that we know why people fail and how to deal with failure, let's ask another important question. How can we avoid failure in the first place? Here's the good news. Failure is not something that must happen again and again. If we pay attention, we can learn from our past mistakes and move closer to success. There are many simple but powerful steps we can take. Let's go through them one by one. Step 1. Set clear goals. The very first step is to set clear goals. When we know exactly what we want, it becomes much easier to plan and work for it. Imagine you want to travel to a new city. If you don't know which city you're going to, how will you choose the right road? You will feel lost. But if you know your destination, you can follow the map and reach it.
Life is the same.
Without clear goals, we don't know which steps to take. But with a clear goal, we have direction. For example, instead of saying, I want to be successful, which is too general, say, I want to become a good English speaker. I want to start my own shop. I want to become a teacher. A clear goal gives us focus and helps us avoid confusion. Step 2. Work hard and stay focused. The second step is to work hard and stay focused. Success does not come without effort. Many people want success, but not everyone is ready to work for it. To avoid failure, we must give time and energy every day to our goals. We should also be careful about small distractions that steal our time. For example, imagine you want to improve your English. To reach that goal, you should practice speaking, reading, and listening regularly. But if you spend most of your time scrolling on social media or playing games, you will not see much progress. Hard work and focus are like strong tools that help us stay on the right path. Step 3. Accept failure as part of learning. Now, here's something important. Even when we work hard, sometimes we will still fail. And that's okay. Nobody is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Sometimes, even when we try our best, things don't go the way we planned. We must learn to accept failure as part of learning. Think about it like this. Every failure is like a teacher. It shows us what we did wrong and what we can do better next time. If we stop fearing failure, we become stronger. And when we see failure as a lesson, we turn it into something useful. Step 4. Be patient. Another key to avoiding failure is patience. Many people give up too soon because they want quick results. But real success takes time. Good things grow slowly. For example, if you plant a seed, it will not become a big tree the next day. You need to water it, give it sunlight, and wait. Only after weeks, months, and years will it grow into a strong tree. Life works the same way. Success needs time, effort, and consistency. So we must keep working, keep trying, and allow ourselves enough time to see results. Patience keeps us strong, even when progress feels slow. Step 5. Believe in yourself. Finally, one of the most important steps is to believe in yourself. Many people fail, not because they are not capable, but because they don't believe in their own abilities. They keep telling themselves, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I will probably fail. And when they think this way, they lose motivation before they even start. But if you believe in yourself, you will try harder, stay focused, and keep moving forward. Believing in yourself gives you confidence, and confidence is the fuel for success. So, to avoid failure, remember these steps. 1. Set clear goals. 2. Work hard and stay focused. 3. Accept failure as part of learning. 4. Be patient. 5. Believe in yourself. If you practice these steps, failure will not control your life. Instead, you will keep moving closer and closer to success. Believe in yourself. Many people fail in life simply because they do not believe in themselves. They keep thinking, I am not good enough. I can't do this. Other people are smarter or stronger than me. But here's the truth. If you do not believe in yourself, then who will? When you believe you can do something, you try harder. You don't give up so easily. You keep looking for solutions when problems appear. Believing in yourself gives you power. It gives you the energy to keep moving forward, even when life is difficult. Think of it like this. Belief is like fuel in a car. Without fuel, the car cannot move. In the same way, without belief, you cannot move toward your dreams. So, always remind yourself, yes, I can do this. I will keep trying. learn from mistakes, and try again. Another very important step to avoid failure is learning from mistakes and trying again. Everyone makes mistakes. That's normal. But the key is what you do after the mistake. Do you give up, or do you learn and try again? For example, if you fail an exam, don't just say, "I am not smart enough." Instead, stop and ask yourself, did I study enough? Did I understand the questions? Did I need more practice? When you ask these questions, you find the reason behind your failure. Maybe you didn't manage your time well. Maybe you need a new study method. Once you know the reason, you can make a better plan for the future. And when you try again, you do so with more knowledge and more confidence. That's how mistakes turn into lessons. Stay positive and don't fear mistakes. To avoid failure, it is also very important to stay positive. When we think in a negative way, we only see problems. But when we think positively, we start to see solutions. A positive mind makes us stronger, more hopeful, and more creative. For example, a negative person might say, "I failed once, so I will always fail." But a positive person will say, "I failed this time, but I can do better next time." See the difference? The words we tell ourselves matter. A positive attitude gives us energy to keep moving forward. It also removes the fear of making mistakes. When you are positive, you know that mistakes are part of learning, not something to be afraid of. Build good habits. Another way to avoid failure is by building good habits. Success does not usually come from one big action. It comes from many small actions we repeat every day. These small actions become habits, and good habits lead us toward success. For example, imagine someone who studies English for 30 minutes every day. At first, 30 minutes may not look like much, but after 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, you will see a big improvement. Small steps, repeated daily, create big results. Good habits can include things like planning your day, managing your time well, practicing patience, thinking positively, taking care of your health. On the other hand, bad habits like laziness, wasting time, or always saying, "I will do it tomorrow," slowly lead to failure. So, choose your habits wisely, because your habits shape your future. Take responsibility. Finally, to avoid failure, we must take responsibility for our actions. When something goes wrong, many people quickly blame others. They say things like, "It was the teacher's fault," or "the situation was unfair." But blaming others does not help us improve. Instead, we should look at what we can change. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? How can I do better next time? Taking responsibility makes you stronger. It puts you in control of your life. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for others to change, and you start working on yourself. That's how real growth happens. Avoiding failure. In the end, avoiding failure is not about being perfect. Nobody is perfect. Avoiding failure is about trying, learning, and growing. When we set clear goals, work hard, stay positive, learn from mistakes, build good habits, and take responsibility, we give ourselves a much better chance at success. Remember this: failure is not the end. Failure is just a step on the road to success. The most important thing is to never give up. What can we learn from failure? Now, let's move to the next part. What can we learn from failure? Failure is not just something bad that happens to us. It is also something that can teach us many valuable lessons. When we fail, we have the chance to stop and think. We can ask ourselves, why did this happen? What went wrong? What can I do better next time? These questions are powerful. They help us grow. Success feels good, but failure helps us become wiser, stronger, and smarter. Without failure, we may never stop to reflect and improve. One of the most important lessons failure teaches us is this: success is not easy. Success takes effort. It takes patience. It takes focus. Sometimes failure is simply telling us, "You are not ready yet. Prepare more. Try again later." And that is not a bad thing. It is a gift because it guides us toward growth. As we come to the end of today's podcast, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful message about failure. The most important thing to remember is this: failure is normal. It happens to everyone. There is no person in this world who has never failed. We fail in school. We fail at work. We fail in business. We fail in relationships. Sometimes we even fail in small daily things, like forgetting something important or making a silly mistake. This is just a natural part of life. But here's the good news: failure is not the end. It is not the opposite of success. In fact, failure is part of the road that leads us to success. Every failure carries a lesson inside it. Every mistake gives us a chance to grow. So the next time you fail, do not feel hopeless. Do not think your journey is over. Instead, pause for a moment.
Take a deep breath.
Then tell yourself, "This is not the end. This is just one step. I can learn from this and I can try again." Remember that every successful person you admire today, whether they are an inventor, a writer, an athlete, or a business leader, has failed many times. The difference is that they did not stop. They used failure as a teacher. They stood up again and kept moving forward. And you can do the same. Whenever life feels heavy, remind yourself: failure makes you stronger. Failure makes you wiser. Failure prepares you for greater success. So, do not be afraid of failure. Welcome it. Learn from it. Use it to become the best version of yourself. Keep going, keep believing in yourself, and never give up, because your success may be closer than you think. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode and that it not only helped you with your English, but also gave you something useful for your life. If you like this podcast, please remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. You can also share it with a friend who may enjoy it too. And if you want to practice your English, try talking about this topic with someone else. When you share your thoughts, you not only improve your speaking, but you also remember what you learned more deeply. So, until next time, take care of yourself. Be gentle with your mind. And try to enjoy each moment as it comes. Goodbye for now, my friends.